attention. You're about to embark on an exciting journey that will touch your heart and challenge your beliefs. Get ready to meet Sarah, an honest cleaning lady whose life is about to turn upside down. Imagine this: a valuable watch, an imposing mansion, and a decision that could change everything. What would you do if you found an object that could solve all your financial problems? And what if that object wasn't yours? Sarah faces this dilemma, and what happens next will surprise you. Accusations, tears, and a twist that no one saw coming. This story will make you question, how far does your integrity go? But wait, there's more. Discover how a simple act of honesty can trigger a series of events that transform lives. You'll be moved, you'll root for her, and who knows, you might even shed a tear or two. And the ending? Oh, the ending is breathtaking. I guarantee you won't want to miss a second of this fascinating narrative. So, are you ready to dive into this story of courage, redemption, and the transformative power of truth? Don't go anywhere, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover how a simple cleaning lady became the most unlikely heroine in this city. Get ready for an emotional roller coaster. This is a story you'll want to tell everyone you know. Shall we begin? The story of Sarah and the Golden Watch. Imagine the sun barely rising, dew still covering an impeccable lawn. It's in this setting that our protagonist, Sarah Johnson, a 45-year-old woman, arrives at the imposing Thompson mansion. Her eyes are tired but determined as she inserts the key into the back entrance. "Good morning, Miss Sarah." You can hear the gardener, Mr. Tom, greeting cheerfully. "Good morning, Mr. Tom. The garden looks beautiful as always," Sarah responds with a genuine smile. As she walks through the silent corridors, you can imagine Sarah reflecting on her life. 12 years ago, she started working in this house, grateful for the opportunity but dreaming of something more for her family. Sarah begins her daily routine, dusting the antique furniture and vacuuming the Persian rugs. As she works, her mind wanders to her youngest son, Jack. "Oh, my little Jack," you hear her whisper to herself, "if only I could give you the treatment you deserve." You need to know that Jack, at 14 years old, suffers from a rare heart condition. Doctors have recommended a complex surgery, but the cost is far beyond Sarah's means. At noon, Sarah reaches Mr. Thompson's office. It's an imposing room, with mahogany bookshelves from floor to ceiling. As she cleans, she notices something strange behind one of the shelves. "What's this?" you hear her murmur, carefully moving some books aside. To Sarah's surprise, and yours too, a small wall safe, partially hidden, is ajar. With her heart racing, Sarah opens the safe door. Inside, shining under the sunlight coming through the window, is an antique-looking pocket watch. Sarah picks it up carefully, admiring the intricate gold details and the small diamonds adorning it. "My God," you hear her whisper, turning the watch over. On the back, a Latin inscription reads, "Tempus omnia revelat," time reveals all things. At that moment, you can feel the weight of Sarah's financial situation and her son's needs seeming to crush her. For a brief instant, she considers the unthinkable. "With this, I could pay for Jack's surgery." You imagine her thoughts, her heart torn between need and integrity. Sarah stands still for several minutes, the watch weighing as heavily in her hands as on her conscience. Finally, she takes a deep breath. "No," you hear her say firmly to herself, "I can't do this. I'm not a thief." Carefully, she examines the office. The open safe seems vulnerable, and Sarah fears someone less scrupulous might find it. "I need to keep it somewhere safer until I can talk to Mr. Thompson," you hear her decide. That evening, Mr. Thompson arrives earlier than usual. He's a tall, middle-aged man with an air of importance that would intimidate most people. "Sarah," you hear him call, his voice echoing through the mansion. "I need you in my office, now." You can feel Sarah's stomach sink. She hasn't had the chance to tell him about the watch yet. "Yes, Mr. Thompson?" Sarah says, timidly entering the office. Mr. Thompson's face is red with anger. "Where is it?" he demands. "Where's what, sir?" Sarah asks, confused. "Don't play dumb," you hear him shout. "The gold watch that was in the safe. It's missing, and you're the only one who's been here today." Sarah turns pale. "Sir, I can explain." "Explain what?" "That you're a thief," he interrupts her. "You're fired." Get out of my house immediately, or I'll call the police." With tears in her eyes, Sarah tries to defend herself. "Please, Mr. Thompson, listen to me. I didn't steal anything. Enough," you hear him roar. "Get out now. And don't you dare come back." Devastated and humiliated, Sarah leaves the mansion, her heart broken not just by the loss of her job, but by the injustice of the situation. The following days are a blur of tears and worries for Sarah. Without a job and with her reputation tarnished, she can barely face her family. "Mom, what happened?" you hear Jack ask, worried about his mother's state. Sarah forces a smile. "Nothing, my son. Just a misunderstanding at work. Everything will be all right." But as she says this, you realize she's not sure if she believes her own words. A week after the incident, Sarah wakes up in the middle of the night with an idea. "The watch!" you hear her exclaim, sitting up in bed. "I know where it is." Remembering where she had hidden the watch, Sarah realizes she has a chance to prove her innocence. The next morning, Sarah sits at the kitchen table with paper and pen. Carefully, she begins to write a letter to Mr. Thompson, detailing everything that happened, explaining why she hid the watch and exactly where she put it. While researching for her letter, Sarah makes a shocking discovery about the watch. She adds a postscript, informing Mr. Thompson that the watch might be a rare historical piece, possibly belonging to a famous 19th century explorer. Sarah sends the letter and waits, her heart in her throat at every phone ring or knock on the door. What if he doesn't even read the letter? You imagine her wondering repeatedly. Meanwhile, the situation at home worsens. Bills pile up, and Jack seems paler each day. 3 days later, the phone rings. Sarah answers with trembling hands. "Hello? Sarah?" Mr. Thompson's voice sounds from the other end of the line, softer than she's ever heard it. "We need to talk. Can you come to the mansion tomorrow morning?" The next morning, Sarah finds herself once again in front of the Thompson mansion. With her heart racing, she rings the doorbell. Mr. Thompson opens the door personally, his face a mixture of emotions. "Come in, Sarah," he says, guiding her to the office. Inside, on the desk, is the gold watch. I owe you an apology, Sarah," Mr. Thompson begins, his voice choked. "I was hasty and unfair." Sarah feels tears in her eyes. "You found?" "Yes, exactly where you said it would be," he interrupts. "And more than that, your discovery about the watch's historical value was correct. It's an invaluable piece." Mr. Thompson not only apologizes but offers Sarah her job back, with a considerable raise. "Actually," he says, "I'd like to offer you a new position. As house manager. Your honesty and intelligence are exactly what we need here." Sarah can hardly believe what she's hearing. I don't know what to say, sir." "Say yes," he smiles. "And there's one more thing." Mr. Thompson takes an envelope from his drawer. "This is for you, Sarah. A reward for your honesty and also, well, consider it compensation for my mistake." With trembling hands, Sarah opens the envelope. Inside is a check with an amount that makes her eyes widen. "But this is enough for your son's surgery," Mr. Thompson gently completes. "Yes, I learned about his situation. Please accept it." Weeks later, Sarah is back at the mansion, now as the house manager. Jack had successful surgery and is recovering well. As she walks through the corridors she knows so well, Sarah stops in front of Mr. Thompson's office. The gold watch is now displayed in a special showcase. "Tempus omnia revelat," you hear her read softly, smiling. Time really does reveal all things. Sarah's story and the watch spread through the city, becoming a local legend about honesty, perseverance, and redemption. Mr. Thompson, deeply impacted by the experience, becomes a more compassionate and attentive employer. He establishes an assistance fund for his employees, inspired by Sarah's situation. Sarah, in turn, uses her new position to help other employees, always reminding everyone that integrity, even in the most difficult times, is the most precious asset one can possess. And the watch? Well, it remains in the office, not just as a valuable piece, but as a constant reminder that time indeed reveals all things, especially a person's true character. And that's how this incredible story ends, my dear listener. I hope it has touched your heart and made you reflect on the power of honesty and perseverance. Always remember, no matter how difficult the situation may seem, doing the right thing is always worth it in the end. Until the next story.